care. That's my piggy bank, my house. I'm glad. And this wealth and income disparity just keeps growing. And I don't care because I'm on the right side of the equation. You see, it's easy for the heart to be wicked. And Jesus spelled this out. I mean, the heart is deceitfully wicked above all else. We're born masters of self deceit. We're born delusional. Our parents were delusional. We're all delusional. We live in a delusional world of madness. We've all been manipulated by madmen, psychopaths, sociopaths, sickos, murderous, genocidal freaks. That's who they are, and that's who's still in control today. So here with Donald Trump trying to turn this ship around, man, I mean, he knows. Look, I still trust the man. I say, look, you know what? I mean, he called on my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. He's reading from the Bible. His wife is. They're praying the Lord's Prayer. May God's will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And look, that's powerful stuff. It doesn't get any more powerful. So, yeah, I'm all in. If I was a gambler, I'd say I'm down with Trump, man. I say just give the guy slack, let him breathe. All this FBI rush of nonsense will blow over because they've got no argument. Maxine Waters and all these people trying to get him impeached. All this stuff is just a bunch of, it's a distraction, a diversion. Okay, they want to do anything they can to throw obstacles, stumbling blocks in his way to keep him from progressing. Because I believe he's serious about raising our standard of living. And again, I said he's not just going to bring back enough jobs. Okay, he's just not going to do it through curbing, all the migration, immigration. He's not going to do it by tax cuts and other things in the stock market and all this. Okay, all those things that's fine, but they're drops in the bucket. It's still special. It's falling into special interest groups. Okay, and that's how we're all broken down. We're all divided. And people don't understand, look, if it doesn't benefit me, then why am I for movie stars and sports figures and musicians making all this dough when really their jobs aren't that important? It's just like the politicians. I mean, there's all these people willing to do their jobs. It's just like on Wall Street. All these people are making these phenomenal sums of money, and their jobs, anybody has to admit, in the scheme of things, they're not important. I'm not saying I don't appreciate the art, okay, of theater. I appreciate it, believe me, and the acting and all this and the musicians. Believe me, I love music, and I can understand people that enjoy the sports. Okay, that's fine. Okay, I'm not trying to take away from anybody. Remember, I'm the guy that's only going to add to people what they have. Okay, I'd make a really bad communist, a really bad socialist, because I don't prescribe to, the Robin Hood thing. I think in theory it's nice, but remember, it doesn't work in the real world. Okay, it just creates animosity. People hire attorneys. They evade their taxes by doing so legally, whatever. Okay, but nevertheless, it doesn't work. It's proven to be an utter failure. Okay, abject failure throughout history. Okay, so it doesn't work. And besides that, I'm not for cramming anything down anybody's throats and making them do anything. I'm for giving you more, not from taking from you. So if I'm talking to multi-billionaires, I don't care. In the scheme of things, you're just a pauper when you think about it. When you think about the fact that, look, if God had it his way, let's just say, let's speculate on how God would have it if he really was running the world, that God was our parents, Jesus Christ was ruling over the affairs of men socially, economically, and politically. How would it be? Would it not be fair to say, well, it seems like at birth, it'd be understood. Our reality, our paradigm would be that you inherited your share of wealth in the planet, inherent wealth, because it's all from God. It's God's planet. He put the wealth into the planet, and he gave mankind the wherewithal we have to go out and make all the technology, all the infrastructure, all that kind of stuff that we've got, all the factories and the stuff coming out of the factories. It was all God's doing. So rightfully and logically speaking, it belongs to all of us. So that should be our paradigm. You see how that's 180 degrees different from what you've been told? And I come across as a wild-eyed pipe dreamer, a radical, for what I believe is plainly logical and reasonable to assume, right? You understand? So just think about it from there, from that point of view, that this planet belongs to all of us. Okay, and that God wants us to share it. And he wants us to serve each other because we want to. And he wants us all to be prosperous. So that what Victor Hugo taught is of no relevance. That's fine because of the world we live in. I mean, Jesus didn't steer away from adversity going out pounding nails in the hot sun all day, and what he did, the fishing and all this. I mean, he contributed greatly, and his disciples did too. And that's what I'm talking about. I mean, it's a great joy. King Solomon said, look, it's the greatest satisfaction you can ever get. And I believe it. Is there any greater satisfaction than doing a beautiful job? I mean, our jobs are like art. And when we do a good job with whatever it is, informing people, or if it's, fixing a car, or landscaping a yard, or whatever it is, working in a factory in quality control. I mean, in the food service industry, whatever it is, all of our jobs, it's an art, okay? And we should all take that's pride. I use that word sparingly. I don't really like it, but pride in our work, because we want people to be pleased. We want to not just please ourselves and say, well, I got it done fast and now I'm free to go play on the beach or whatever you want to do. No, I only did this job at a time when I wanted to, okay? And that means I will do a better job, okay? And that you will be pleased. So I'm seeking to please not just myself, but I'm seeking to please others. And so that's the way our reality could be so much different. We could be far more productive than we need to be. Okay, with the state of the art tools that we have and equipment in the industrialized age, the age of technology, satellite technology, and I mean computer technology, it's incredible. It's so easy. We don't have to worry about automation or robotics taking our jobs, and we like driving our own cars, so we should just say no to automated driving vehicles. That's it. I mean, they say vote with your dollars. I understand that has its limitations. I really do. That's why I'm always harping and pointing at the root of the problem. And that's what, in order to have this rising tide of prosperity that lifts all ships, the root of the problem is we, the people, not having control of the issuance and printing of currency, the manufacture of the currency. We don't have any controls over that. If we did, we could decide our own destiny. We could have true checks and balances, oversight, accountability. So what happened in 2008 wouldn't have happened. We would have said, there's no way. All you guys are fiends. You played this game, liar loans and all that. We know what you did. You overextended yourself. You dumped all that money on the housing market, an essential human need, greatly increasing our cost to survive, our cost to live, totally debasing our currency. And we got the mainstream media going along with this scheme. We got the government going along with this scheme. They're fascist. That makes it fascist. The mainstream media going along with it, misinforming people. That's lies. That's deceit to say that rising cost of living, rising cost to survive is a good thing. But that's the same thing as telling you that rising house prices are a good thing. So why is the government involved? Why is the mainstream media involved? Well, most mainstream media people, they can afford to be homeowners. So they've got their own little special interest group as a homeowner. They're a minority now in California, by the way. And the government does it because they get more taxes. So you understand the ulterior motive, why people will, cleave to their own little special interest group and block out, what they don't want to hear, right? A man hears what they want to hear and disregards the rest, like that line from that Simon and Garfunkel song. But this, we have to be honest. You see, it doesn't take a lot of smarts, but it does take coming out of ignorance and confusion to some degree and just clear the slate and say, wait a minute. I don't have to listen to anybody. I can figure this thing out for myself. If I get on my knees, God will explain all this stuff in very clear, succinct terms, very cogent, coherent terms. And all I have to do is be honest. I'm man enough, woman enough to accept what he's saying. And what he's saying is the truth. What he's saying is that, yes, indeed, you can live together in peace and harmony, safety, security, and prosperity and freedom on the face of this earth. That is God's will for us. Now figure out how to do it. It's not hard. I haven't made it a mystery. It's not a secret. Okay? That's what I try to explain. That's why I'm always conflating economics with spiritual matters. It's essential that we understand the teaching of Jesus, that money is a false god. It's Satan's what's the food of the gods? What do they call that? Sometimes I just completely go brain dead over very, very simple terms. ambrosia, right? Satan's ambrosia is this money, and it can take any form at all, but it all means the same thing. It's all this idea, and the euphemism is, to explain this in definition terms, is that it's to facilitate exchange. I mean, why would you want to get rid of money? I mean, that's illogical. That's nonsense. It's innocent. It's just how you spend it. You don't, you put your money where your mouth is. You vote with your dollars, and all this stuff. But that only flies so far. It doesn't make sense, because bartering would be a much more just way to go. Okay, and that's going back. That's regressing to go back to barter. Okay, but that's really would be a lot more fair to do that, because the way it is now, people doing totally unimportant things for society, really non-productive things that we could all live entirely without, they're being paid handsomely for what they offer. And what they offer is just destruction of our standard of living, destruction of our currency. And this is never a good thing, but yet we've been sold that and people buy it. They say, oh, well, somehow it makes sense. Besides, my industry has been able to keep up with it. Yeah, I'm just a mechanic at the shop now, making 15, 25 bucks an hour or whatever. But I have plans. Once I learn the business, I'll open my own shop. I'll get a small business loan, and I'll be hiring guys at 15 and 25 an hour and charging 120 bucks an hour. So people have their dreams and they all justify. They'll say this is all right. And the same thing. I mean, in the plumbing industry, the same thing, right? Well, the contractor makes this vast amount of money, but I'm making 15 to 25 bucks an hour with dreams of becoming a contractor. But you see, in the meantime, people are just getting poorer and poorer and poorer. And you having money doesn't help me, okay? It really doesn't. It's just like at an auction. How does it help anybody? All these people that are about the same, let's say, soundness, financial soundness at the auction, right? You got 20 people in there, and then one guy walks in, and everybody goes, "Oh, damn it!" Because here's a guy that's a pig, okay, and he's going to come in. He's got more money, and he's known to, just like to acquire a lot of stuff, okay? And so anything that you might have thought you or your peers were going to buy at this auction and make a few bucks off in a trade, online or in some other venue that you were going to sell it, or maybe you're a collector, whatever, or collectors that wanted something and you're working for them to go to this auction. But you understand how this works. When our ability to survive, to pay the cost of living, it becomes like an auction. It's a bad thing, man. This is a bad state of affairs, and California is ahead of the curve. The rest of the nation is behind the curve. You got to understand where this thing is headed. They want your houses. They want to shake you loose. They don't want you to have home ownership, especially at those low prices you paid. If you paid anything under $100,000, man, you're not paying enough property tax at all. They want your cost of living up, your cost to survive up, or they want to shake you loose of it by tempting you with taking out equity and buying a new car and taking vacations, and don't worry about it. You get this cheap loan here and mortgage your house. So you understand where this thing goes. So somebody else having money and being able to pay the cost of living doesn't help me. It hurts me. You see, so the only hope is that we understand this as a family, as a civilization, as one race, and we come together and we say, we get it. We're out of confusion. We're out of Babylon. We're out of ignorance. And now it's time to work together here and be serious, because we know that this thing is life and death, life and limb. It's about salvation, okay? And this is serious. I mean, how big a deal do we need in order to get it? And we don't want it to be a big deal. We want to just march up to the Federal Reservists with the help of the politicos that understand what we're doing, the politicos that understand it, and get in the face of those politicos that are liars and cheaters. They're dishonest. They're cheating us. When they signed off on that loan in 2008, they knew, okay, that's a bad thing. That's a bad thing. And I don't give a crap. They give themselves a raise when they're making well over $100,000 a year, a couple $100,000 a year. What the hell do they care about the cost of living? They say, yeah, the cost of living went up X, but I made Y. I'm actually ahead of the game, okay? So I stay well heeled. And, I don't give a crap. I've divorced myself from the masses. I don't care about you anymore. I've given up. I've abandoned my conscience. I've abandoned morals and ethics and principles. Okay, I care more about money. I don't care about conscience. In fact, my conscience is just a nuisance. Isn't that how it is for a lot of people, in all honesty? And that's what I don't want to happen. I want to stay a loving, kind, caring person. I don't want my love to wax cold. And the only way I could abandon my conscience is to let my love wax cold and become a cutthroat and say, I don't care about anything. I'm going to make my money. Damn it, I'm coming through, man. Rich Dad, we're going to be rubbing elbows, man. I'm giving my soul over to Satan. Like Katy Perry said, that's it, man. I sold my soul to the devil. I just want fame and fortune. Okay? And that's how it's going to be for a lot of people. They're willing to murder. Hey, anybody willing to murder, okay? And I'm not naming names, but I know mercenaries. Anyone that's a mercenary says, yes, I'll pay you. Give me the right amount, and I will go and kill anybody. I don't have screw conscience. I care more about the money. Okay, I care what sustains Satan. Okay, I want that same thing. That sustains me. I want that ambrosia. Okay, the food of that God, the God of this world, the competing God with the true God.